What's going on, guys? Maddie from DCLblogger.com. In this video, it's an exciting kind of time for me personally in Decentraland because I can start to see the formation of how Decentraland is going to look like. And I'm seeing more utilities for mana. And a game recently has started their kind of ICO or pre-sale event called Chainbreakers, which is an exclusive title for the Decentraland community. And basically they're a game developing on Decentraland. You can kind of see how Decentraland will shape up to be with all these games coming on board to build on Decentraland. But I just wanted to go through some of the economics, some of the progress from these guys so far, what I have seen. Personally, I have not invested in Chainbreakers yet. I like to invest in something when I start to see some volume, right? So what I normally do, and I've done this, is I check out their Ethereum contract. So let's look at their contract. So they've been, I think, running their ICO for the last 2 days, maybe 2.5 days, and it's pretty crazy how many people have actually purchased some of their weapons, right? So before I get into all this, it's probably better for me to explain what the game is about. Basically, it's best for you guys to check out in your own time the story and the gameplay and all that. But basically, it's like an RPG quest kind of game where you're stuck in ancient Greece and you're kind of part of a rebellion. So during the reign of the cruel government, players enter the world and are tasked with supporting the rebellion. Gameplay elements include gathering suppressed slaves and integrating them into the player's rebellion squad to lean against the tyrannic system, claiming items and loot, and forging partnerships with other rebels to embark on the most dangerous challenges in the realm. Okay, so you do that. At the moment, what they've released is the ability to purchase weapons. Okay, now there's different kinds of weapons: legendary, epic, rare, uncommon. They all look pretty cool, all designed in 3D kind of VR, because remember, this game is going to be in virtual reality, which is the platform that Decentraland is going to be, right? It's going to be a platform open in virtual reality that is open for people to come build their experiences in VR. So there's a bunch of legendary items. These are on reverse Dutch auction, starting, I think they started off at like 400,000 mana, and they've been reversing in price since. There's another 7 days, I believe, for this to go all the way down to 0. So someone will pick it up somewhere along that way. But the interesting thing for me is that their auction, or their kind of funding mechanism or economy, the currency they're using is mana. So it gives us as Decentraland investors or mana investors, however you've diversified your portfolio, it's interesting to see a utility for mana being used as a crowdfunding currency. It's like really cool to see, and I hope this trend continues where games that want to release on Decentraland fund using mana, because it's been quite successful. It's done really well in 3 days, like I mentioned before. Now we can check out the Ethereum contract. In 3 days, look at all the transactions coming in. So the 3,900 mana are for the epic items, which have all been sold out. And that's what got my attention, to be honest, the fact that all of these have been selling out. And I was like, when I heard of this game being released, I was like, yeah, it's a really cool concept, but I really didn't know how the community would respond. But seeing that all of these weapons have been sold out, so all the epics that are selling for 3,900 mana, currently that's like $300 US. It's not cheap, right? It's not cheap. But considering that all of them have been sold out, and people are moving on to the rares and the uncommons and the commons, you can just see like all the transactions coming in. And they've raised so far about almost 700,000 mana in just a few days. Okay, so if mana token increases in value, they'll have a lot of money to spend in game creation, development, all that kind of stuff. But it's really cool to see like all these transactions coming in, people actually purchasing and giving value to these items. And that's a really awesome thing to see, considering that 1, these guys are using mana to fund, and 2, that they're going to be releasing on Decentraland. So another cool thing is that they're integrating and partnering up, or they're kind of allowing the ability for landowners to hold quests on their land and share in a percentage of the revenue generated by people purchasing items within that land. So if that land, I think this article summed it up really well. Where was it? Yeah, Decentraland is opening the game up to current independent landowners to host questing areas and the opportunity to be reimbursed via a percentage of the questing area dividend pools. Similar to other blockchain-driven games, Chainbreakers leverages non-fungible tokens, blah, 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 blah. Crowdfunding on November 1st, which is only like 2 or 3 days ago. But yeah, I think they've done a really good job of integrating what the community has already and kind of bringing us together bringing something out in development that gives us an edge as Decentraland owners, Decentraland land owners. Not so much of an edge. I believe like it allows us to see how everything is going to integrate together, which is what I'm trying to get to. It's just really cool to see, considering the fact that I have lands. It kind of gets me excited as well. Like, I may not invest in the game itself, but I can still do something because I have some really cool estates. Like this one here is situated in the midst of all these really cool areas, like the really cool districts, right? The Crypto Valley, you got Dragon Kingdom, the Battleground, all this stuff. And I've got a 33 land estate sitting right here, which I'm happy to get people, you know, doing their quests on. And I don't know exactly how the game mechanic is going to play out. And I've got another little estate over here. I've got one over here. So I don't exactly know how this is going to work out, but it's great to see them giving opportunity to people that hold land, people that have mana, so that they can invest in these weapons and all that kind of stuff. The weapon design itself looks pretty amazing, I have to admit. They've done a great job in the designing of the weapons. And there's a lot of people quite excited in the Discord about all this stuff. Now, they've also got a bit of a roadmap. So let's quickly check out the roadmap. Deploying MVP build to test the net. So in December sometime, they may be testing the kind of battle net where you can give feedback on the gameplay. Alpha will start on January, February, March, April. So the 4th of the April 2019. So it is just, I think is that in Q1? No, that's Q2. So just the start of Q2, second quarter, we should see a full gameplay. Now, like I said, guys, I made this video because I'm just excited on the fact that there is a game developing on Decentraland in VR that they're using mana to fund the kind of game pre-ICO, pre-sale stage. And that's what gets me most excited. Anything that increases land value or gives the utility to a land or mana, like, has my attention. And it's great to see these games coming on board. Like, do your own research and check out their Twitter. They're consistently telling you, you know, Axe of Argus is sold out. So there's another epic weapon that's sold out. Kronos has been sold out. I don't exactly know how many of each one there was. I think there could have been like 6 or 12, maybe, epics. But they've all just been sold out, and it's great to see that momentum happen. This article does a really good job in kind of going through the games and all that kind of stuff. But DCL Plaza did a really cool 5 Decentraland games developing on Decentraland. Now, Chainbreakers was just one of them, right? Now, there's a bunch of other games that are also developing their VR experiences in Decentraland. You've got Crypto Cars, going to be like a drag racing game. You've got Crypto Beasties, which you can collect cards and battle them, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Hearthstone and all that kind of stuff. Ethereumon, which is like battling Pokemon type game. They already exist. They're one of the first kind of NFT DApp games to start building in, you know, on the Ethereum blockchain, but they're also one of the early partnerships with Decentraland. But there's also Axie Infinity coming on board. Scrapyard Escape is another game that Decentraland themselves are building just to show the utility capabilities of games on Decentraland. And this is not even covering all of the games. There's still like another like 5 or 10 games that are launching on Decentraland. Hopefully, Chainbreakers will pave the way for showing other game developers the ability that Decentraland kind of has on successfully funding in the mana token. I personally believe, like, they've funded 700,000 mana, which is, for me personally, that's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of funding in just the first 3 days. Hopefully they'll hit 1 million plus. But as more games kind of come and develop on this, the mana token price itself will continue to grow. So hopefully the funding will increase a lot, and Decentraland becomes a platform, kind of like how Ethereum is for the blockchain platform to come and build Ethereum based, you know, companies and decentralized kind of currencies and all that kind of stuff. I hope Decentraland becomes like a really strong platform to kind of fund in mana and also build games in VR that have great experiences. So it's all dependent on the world. The world is opening. Decentraland world is opening end of this year, or is expected at least at the early next year. So I mean, like, grab some land if you haven't. There's just, the future is a lot of kind of unpaved. We don't know what's going to happen, but there's a lot of momentum. Like I said before, there's still, amongst all of these games, there's like, you know, 40 to 50 districts that have dedicated themselves. Like, all of these districts are groups of people that are building you know, building experiences themselves. So the Crypto Valley themselves, like if you check them up on CoinMarketCap, they're led by the Elf team, and I think another investment fund. But the Elf cryptocurrency itself, they're on like an $80 million market cap, and they're the team behind Crypto Valley, which is right here. So there's a lot of people with a ton of investment and momentum themselves, independent or kind of company backed, that are building experiences, not just game developments and all that kind of stuff. And it's just going to be really awesome when it opens up to see how it all comes together. So anyway, just a few words on the game Chainbreakers and how it's all kind of integrating with Decentraland. Like I said, I hope this trend continues on funding games on Decentraland using Mana token, because from my point of view, it's been quite successful. But yeah, great to see all this happening.